Hello, and welcome to We Go Boldly, the podcast where we are celebrating women stepping into their power and living their most authentic lives. We are so thrilled you're here with us again today. It's our mini season wrap up session. It's the end of August. We have been running our We Go Boldly weekly women's circle. That's hard to say for a very long time now, and we would love to have you join us. It is one of our favorite parts of the week. We love doing it. We love seeing women all come together in community and support and strength and all of those things, and vulnerability, even when it is warranted. And so you can find out more about it at our website, goboldlyinitiative.com/weekly circle. We'd love to have you join us and let us know if you're going to make it. We would love to see you there. So, like I said, it's the end of season 12 and a half, our mini summer season full of joy and hope and exciting, good, positive vibes. And before we dive into today's episode, let me get Tovah talking on our show, see how she's doing. What's going on, Tovah? How are you?
Well, you can't tell because you're seeing me on a screen from my old house in July, but in reality, I'm Brigantine, hopefully at the beach when you're listening to this. So I am channeling those relaxing vibes. But interestingly enough, with our topic, um, this is where like the rituals and the seasons start clashing this time of year as we're listening, because I will be at the beach, and when I go to Wawa or Dunkin' or Starbucks, there'll be like pumpkin spice lattes, and it's all very confusing.
um, I cannot imagine drinking a pumpkin spice latte at the beach in the summer. It sounds like a recipe for me getting sick. I'm just putting that out there as
I'm
an
not saying
awareness for
I
people.
would. I'm just saying like this is where there's that like messiness,
Yes, the in-betweens
the in between. And
makes
also, it's
makes
a
sense.
product, I assume, of the fact that we live in an area that goes back to school the latest. And so I think other people's kids are going back to school, have been back to school. Some people's kids have been back to school for weeks. And
Yeah.
we're like, we're at the beach. See you next week, school. uh,
Yeah, we go back before Labor Day. It's like my least favorite thing about, well, I wouldn't say least, but it is one of the things I like the least about our school system here, because it doesn't, you go back Thursday before Labor Day. It's like, I would rather go back, mid-August than the Thursday before Labor Day.
yeah, so I grew up going back the Monday before Labor Day. But I like by the time I was in high school and we were doing that and stuff, I was in band, and
Yeah.
we didn't even really take the summer off. Like
Yeah.
we had band all summer. Once I became a drum major, I had to go to all the things, plus a week of band camp. And then when that was over, there'd be like minis. Like it was like, so by the time school started, it was like, okay, we've like been here already all for a month.
Yeah. Well,
So
let's talk about rituals. Speaking of,
yeah, yeah.
um, so, as we've said, sort of all throughout this little, I hate saying mini season. I don't even know why I don't like saying it. But
Bonus
throughout this
season,
whole
baby.
bonus season that we've put together, we are focusing on the joy nuggets, right? Like the joy of living and being and existing, and in spite of or because of all of the craziness around us. Finding the joy has become sort of paramount to existing in a world where, lots of bad things are happening and lots of sadness exists and lots of frustration and all those heavy emotions. And so when we can, we are
Mm.
seeking those moments of joy, even when they're fleeting, even when they're, you know, I read a great paragraph. You were telling me about something you read in a Brene Brown book, and it was like, two sentences, and it brought you joy, and you so much joy that you wanted to share it with me, which is even better, right?
Yeah.
And so having those, albeit maybe fleeting, maybe far and few between, depending on what's going on in your life, but having those moments, acknowledging them, if you can share them, really can change the whole course of your existence, in a very positive way.
Well, and so speaking of Brene Brown books, because I started re-listening to The Gifts of Imperfection. I better be finished with it by now. But I started listening to the Gifts of Imperfection, and she talked about one thing that she used to do, which was not be excited for things to happen, or not,
Mm,
if she got a good job opportunity or a good like business opportunity, she'd be like, oh yeah, no, it's cool, it's fine, I'm just really lucky, and would really
yeah.
downplay it. And she's like, it never saved her from the disappointment, because other people didn't know about it. And so it meant that if it fell through, or if something happened, she didn't have anyone to talk to about it. Like,
Yeah.
because you couldn't be like, oh, I had this opportunity. And they'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And she's like, yeah, no, no, it didn't work out. Like, and so she didn't have anyone to talk to about it. Um, and then it also deprived her of the joy of anticipation. And I feel like that's the way I feel like with rituals, as I prepare for this transition from the summer to the fall, which in my head happens like Labor Day weekend. I will, and
Right.
Riley's been there for this because she came to help me after I just had my surgery 2 years ago. Like, I will make the whole house very like autumny,
Right.
autumnal.
Right.
And it gets me excited for everything else that's going to happen. Um, I also feel like when I have these kind of dividers, or, I did a bunch of research on rituals that help your brain perform better, or I found some interesting witchcraft for beginners, 25 rituals for closing chapters and moving forward. But the point is that, like, when that happens, like, there's so much that it's hard to capture in your brain everything that's happening in the world. And I think rituals give you these like benchmarks, and give you these ways to sort of, I don't know, be like, okay, we're 6 months into this disaster
Yeah.
of a regime. Like, okay, we did it. 6 months felt like 28 years, but
Right.
we made it through. And like, I think, rituals are important for closure and moving on, and just acknowledging what is happening in your life.
Yeah, and so I think rituals can be big and they can be small and repetitive, right? Like rituals
Yeah.
can be, as you're talking about, like these sort of chapter endings, like graduations, weddings, um,
Yeah.
different like celebrations that you might have in your family, birthdays. Those are all rituals that we participate in as a society, and they allow us to know, okay, I graduated from high school. My next step is I'm going to learn a trade. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to travel. I don't, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a benchmark, as you're saying, to the next thing. I find joy, I mean, those are joyous occasions, right? Like they're worthy of celebration and they're all fun and wonderful, births of children or like adopting a dog. It's all like amazing and stuff to celebrate. When we're talking about, though, for me, when we're talking about these little, I don't like to use the word little other than to say they don't have to be so momentous, but these
Right.
joy nuggets, um, the little rituals, the daily rituals are the things that bring me that joy. The In the morning I wake up every day at 5 because that's what my body does. And it's not, it's like it's offensive. I find it offensive, but it happens and I can't stop it. So when I wake up, I make my now mushroom coffee because I'm trying to like be more healthy. And it's working. Yay. I make my coffee. I sit on my little L couch. I drink my coffee. I read my book, and my cat sits on me and does weird stuff because cats are weird.
Yeah.
And every morning I do that and it feels great. And it makes me like happier. I feel a sense of joy, a sense of peace, comfort from it. When I don't get to do it, I'm kind of grumpy, unless it means I've slept in. And
Right. Right.
so those kinds of things, those kinds of ritualistic behaviors, whether you want to call them habits or rituals, I mean, I call them rituals because it makes me feel less like something I'm supposed to break, right? We always like break a habit, break a habit. I don't want to break it. It's great. It like works for me.
Right. Right.
So those are the kinds of things that bring me joy, whether it's Tova, you walk every day and it's a
Yeah.
ritual. Yes, it's a habit, but it's a ritual too that brings you joy.
Well, and I think also, like, rituals can help you transition as each day. Like, yours is transitioning from being asleep to transitioning to being awake. And like, I've talked about this before many times on the show, but like I did not realize that dropping my kids off at school and coming home and like getting the dishes started and making tea or coffee and like wiping down the counter and like picking up all the random socks that somehow get left everywhere. I don't know why. Why?
So
Um
many
that
socks. So many
so
socks.
many socks. That those are all rituals that I go through. That is a ritual that I go through that helps me reset my brain from like work or not work to work. And it's a
Right.
really important ritual for me. And when it left, I felt floaty. Like I felt like, and that's like people talk and we talk about grounding. And I find rituals to be very grounding. So it's like a touchstone.
Absolutely.
It's like coming back. Maybe it's not always coming back to that like one tree in the forest, but it's like that little section of the forest that you're like, this is my touchstone. And maybe there's some trees that you're your daily touchstone. And then there's some trees that are like your seasonal or like, and because it helps you know what is next.
Yeah,
And
and I think you could
yeah.
even go one step further in that, like, there's a time, if you're an artist, you know this, or if you're a person in the world, you probably also know this, but there's a time of day when the light is best, right? When the light is the most
Mm,
beautiful, when the light is the most golden. And so, you know, that can become a ritual, right? Like
yeah.
noticing the way the light is moving outside your window in your office, or while you're driving. I was driving to one of my kids to soccer practice yesterday, and I noticed that the way the light was going through the trees, it was 5 o'clock. It was the golden hour. I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. And it brought me joy. And it's the noticing. And maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like a ritual, but it is a ritual because that's something that I notice over and over and over again, and it brings me the same sense of comfort each time. And so that in my mind is a ritual that I have. I mean, do I do it every day? No, I wish I could because that would be great. But, when I do it, it feels grounding, as you said.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it gives you a chance to like check in. Like I
Mm,
think that's what even commutes can be. It gives you a chance to like check in on okay, this is what's happening now. Let's go find out what's next. Um and whether it's a daily ritual or a weekly ritual or seasonal ritual, I think it can have some of those same constants. It can provide a constant for you.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Um, So why did we decide to end the bonus season on rituals? I think um it's something that we can all do in our lives and start, even we're probably already doing,
Yep.
start noticing and celebrating and being um excited for, proud of, interested in, all those types of things, and recognizing that these are rituals we undertake and they bring us joy, and that joy translates into resistance. It translates into being the kind of person you want to be and the community member you want to be and all those things. So there is an important note for people to take from talking
Mm,
about rituals, and that you can create your own. It doesn't, your ritual may not look like anyone else's, and you may have many of them. um,
yep.
the key is to start noticing them.
Well, and I also think so. The other day, I went to a baseball game with the boys, and we ought to stand up and take off our hat because it was this time for the Star Spangled Banner. And that's a ritual, right? That we
Hmm.
do as a nation. Um, but I don't know, to copy what the kids say, like it hit different. Like, not that
Mm,
I didn't want to be standing, not that I didn't want to be honoring our country, but I was very mentally cognizant of what I was honoring and like who I was honoring and what I was standing up for. And
yeah.
how many times have I done that? How many times have we been somewhere and they start the day, they start the process with the Star Spangled Banner, the Pledge of Allegiance, or something, and you kind of just go through the motions. And I think that, as you've talked about, like, you can take some power back by not just going through the motions, and instead by being aware of what you're doing,
Right.
and using it as a way to connect. Because I was like, oh, interesting, here's a song that was written during a battle against a king, and like, and just listening to the words. And actually there were no words. Maybe it was a trumpeter who was playing, and then the crowd started singing and was singing quietly and then like louder, and it was just, I don't know, I think there's power in acknowledging what your rituals are and your traditions, and whether they're cultural traditions or for your family. I think there's power, and I think the more that we can say, like, you can't take this away from us, the better.
Yeah. So July 4th was not that long ago from when we're recording this. And it's, if you know me, you know that's my absolute favorite holiday. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one being I don't have to buy anyone presents and nobody has to buy me presents. But beyond that, like it is my favorite holiday. And it's not really a patriotic reason that it's my favorite holiday. However, this year, we go the same place for July 4th every year. We do the same things because my husband knows how much I love it. It's the only holiday I actually enjoy, and like in a deep way. And so he always, makes sure we book it and go, and like he's very cognizant of that. And so
Mm,
this year it was interesting because um I did not allow my disgust with the current regime and sort of insane behaviors that are happening. And I'm just putting it out there. I mean, anyone who listens to us knows that we're not pro him. And so it was interesting in that I felt empowered to be patriotic and to say, you
mm,
know what, I am like, my protest is patriotism. My resistance is patriotism. It is
mm.
patriotism at its finest, right? Like that is
Yeah.
what grew this country in the first place. And so I was worried that I would be, I don't know, let down or bummed out or like not enjoy myself because of,
Mm,
all the illegal deportations and the attacks on women and LGBTQ and just everything that's going on. And while all of that exists and makes me sad and frustrated and angry and all those things, I also felt the ritual of doing this thing every year and appreciating what I have and
mm,
like the people that came before me to help build that. And the reason, like half my family left, Eastern Europe during the pogroms. Like I don't know how to explain it in the sense that like everyone has a story of how you wound up here and how you wound up a part of this culture. And
yeah.
some of those stories seem to have been forgotten by by a lot of, MAGA people. Um, but we're all invaders in one way or another. And I just was able to appreciate the ritual of fireworks and the barbecue and the people and the kids running around and the sparklers and all of this stuff of like, look how good we have it. Like,
Yeah.
look how lucky we are to have the freedoms we have. Um, and that fired me up to fight more for it, right? To like want to protest, to want to say, no, I don't accept you, deporting people in mass for no reason. Um,
Right.
so anyway, I got on my soapbox there for a minute, but like it really, that is the power of ritual, right? Like that is the strength of a repeated pattern that helps you ground into who you are as a person, right? Like to ground yourself in your own values.
Yeah. And, you've talked about how rituals are a form of resistance, and joy is a form of resistance. And I think anyone who is living really any phase of their life right now, it's like, I can't believe I have to do this while this whole other thing is going on. Like, I can't believe my retirement is being messed up by this nonsense. I can't believe
Mm-hmm.
that my parenting, my opportunity to parent, like you and I are both in these like middle age kids where we're leaning towards teens. We have some, I have a teen, but when taken out of his natural habitat, like he's just a kid with his brothers. And um and like I can't believe we have to parent through this insanity. And as
Yeah.
when you have little kids, you'd be like, I can't believe I have to be pregnant, or well, yes, for a variety of reasons, but I can't believe, like, yeah. But I can't believe, shout out to the episode with Allie Phillips. Go listen to that one. But like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that I have to parent young children during this time. And so I think being like, but I'm still going to have my kids go out front and stand in front of our front door so I can take a picture of them on their first day of school. Or I'm still going to do this thing. Or we're still going to go out for ice cream for the first Friday after the first day. Like we always go out for ice cream or get ice cream at least the first Friday after the whole first week of school because we're so tired by the end of, like, for whatever reason
Yeah.
that first week of school is just a doozy.
Oh,
and
it's rough.
and we just get ice cream, right? Like, we made it 4 days. um but I think like not letting go of those and saying
Yeah.
like, yeah, all this horrible stuff is happening, but that's still important too. I'm not going to give up my life for this regime, and I don't mean like die. I mean, like the life that I'm choosing to live each day. Like, there's that saying about
Yeah.
something about like, don't, I don't know, it's some cheesy saying about like not working so hard to get a living that you forget to have a life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, right. But I think transferring it to what we're talking about, it's like one of the reasons we've been so focused on rituals and music and books and fun is that there is so much heavy happening right now that we can't forget to remember, as you did on the 4th of July, like why we are resisting and what we are
Yeah.
pushing back for.
And I think the reality is, well, I hope and like pray that the reality is that this will pass. Um, and when I look back, like I look back the last time we went through this kind of regime, though it wasn't as bad as it is now, um, I don't want to look back and be like, I did nothing. I don't want to look back and think, wait, I didn't live my life. I forgot about my family. I don't like the word balance, but it is something of a balancing act. You have to keep living your life. You have to keep doing, like, one, we have to do things, right? Like, we have to pay our bills, we have to go to work, whatever. But also, we have to hold on to who we are. We can't give in to the despair. And that means living your life and enjoying the things you enjoy and being proud of the things you're proud of,
Yep.
and talking about it and putting it out there. If we let go of those things, then we lose. Then we've given up.
Right.
And which is not to say there won't be days, like I've had days, plenty of days, where I have doom scrolled myself into despair. And, I don't think I really lived my life on those days. But then I got up the next day and tried again, right? Like that's always an option. And that's the great thing about rituals too, is that it can help you reset in that way. Certainly like my morning rituals do help me reset. But even if you're, like whatever grounds you, if it's the ocean, going to stick your toes in the ocean, if it's going out into nature, or if it's
Right.
everything I think of as outdoors and in nature. But maybe yours is like going to get your nails done. I don't know. Like it could be anything, like going out for drinks with your friends, um, going to book club, going to a concert. I don't know. And any of those things that you do in your life, like in normal times, that you've maybe given up doing or you've stopped doing because everything is just so hard. Um, if we can get back to some of those things, it will help us to continue fighting and to continue working against, the bad things that are happening right now.
Yeah. I struggled with this when in 2018, when we were first dealing with the Trump separation of families, and I
Mm,
was working and volunteering like, just nonstop all through the night. We were working. And I remember thinking, like, how dare I even stop and enjoy myself? Like, how dare
yeah.
when there are people who are being separated from their kids, how dare I do this? And um, then I thought, how dare that I don't? Like, there's nothing these parents would rather have than would be time with their kids.
Right.
Like, how do I not savor that and not, you know, take the time to be with my kids? So, I don't know. I do strongly believe that we need to um, lean into all the joy as much as we possibly can, and that
Yeah.
in itself is a form of resistance. And by the way, just as an aside, and we haven't gone into this because we're trying to keep uh I don't know, this relatively light, but there are cultures generally generationally who have done this much better than what we're describing. Like, there are cultures who have been through horrible things, and in order to handle their generational trauma, they have embraced joy and rituals and storytelling and fun, and they have embraced these things as a way to counterbalance um, what they have and what they do experience. And so while we're not
Yeah.
going into that, we want to make sure that we acknowledge that, like, we're not the first ones who had this idea.
Oh
And
my gosh. No.
I don't think anyone's listening thinks that, but I just want to acknowledge, like, culturally, there are groups who do this and have done this for generations, and it's incredibly important that they to continuing to exist when things are being peeled away, that
Yeah.
they do this, and also that we do this.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at cultures, even just within the United States, you can see that that is truly the case of people having had to endure all kinds of horrific things and come out of that. I would love to say on the other side, but I don't think we're there yet.
No.
But it's certainly like move through in
Yeah.
some way by utilizing all the things you just talked about, whether it's music, whether it's learning to be fun and playful, whether it's, books and arts and all those things, rituals that help to, I think, as we said in the last episode, really process the experiences that we're all having. And rituals can do that too, right? Like your daily rituals can help you process your grief, process your joy, process whatever you're
Yeah.
feeling in any given moment, and give you access to that experience in a way that is, um I don't want to say useful because that's so utilitarian, but like that is, um will help you do something with it as opposed to just being stuck in it, because none of us want to be stuck in a bad feeling. um and so, we can use rituals to help us kind of process whatever that bad feeling is and then move through it. We can also obviously use rituals for good things, for good feelings too, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a deep, dark, sad, whatever. It can be just like, you maybe, like you said, you have a ritual of getting ice cream with the boys, and
Yeah.
like, I have rituals with my kids. Like, we go to certain places and we do certain things, and they're, they become rituals that are rituals of joy and celebration, and that is super important as well.
And they don't have to be rituals that you do with other people, although they can be. They can be rituals. Most of the ones that we've described have been doing them by themselves, ourselves. But they can be whatever you need. And I would, I know I gave homework last time to, like, listen to some music, but I would encourage you to think about, like, you may have rituals that you don't even know that you have. Um, and you don't know that you miss them until you've skipped a day. I think it's one reason that, like, as great as vacation is, sometimes if you don't keep up those like grounding rituals, that you're like, oh, what's, what's going on?
Yeah,
Um,
you get off track.
yeah. And so I think like acknowledging what your rituals are and acknowledging what's important to you already. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I need some more rituals. But maybe you're listening and you're like, what? Huh? And maybe you already have some. And so I think it's important for us to acknowledge what rituals we have and what is important to us. Um, and so I would encourage everyone to take some time to do that, because we are listening to this right before September, and then we are like off to the races into
Yep.
the end of the year. And there are celebrations, and some of those are rituals, but some of those rituals don't renew and restore us. So maybe finding those ones that
Yeah,
renew and restore us is really, really important. And I would encourage you all to do that.
definitely. Um, If you have a ritual that you love and want to share with us, feel free to reach out. You can send it to us in an email. You can reach out to us on social media at Go Boldly Together. We'd love to hear about what you all do out there in the world to ground yourself, to bring yourself joy, to kind of transition into your days and what happens in your life. It's always interesting to us to hear from other people, what they do. So feel free to reach out to us. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up. And we are going to be back very soon with a whole new season. Not surprisingly, we're going to be talking about hope, and we're going to do that in a variety of ways. And hopefully, no pun intended, with a variety of people. But until then, make sure that you are enjoying your life and out there living it and not watching it, pass you by. And we will be back very soon to talk to you all. Thanks, everybody.